The dispute over Brexit has been bitter over the past 6 years, and the rift between Brussels and London is deep. And so, no one on either side of the English Channel dares to say it out loud, but since Russia invaded Ukraine, British and European politicians have sat down again for constructive talks. Last Friday, the EU invited British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss to attend a meeting of European foreign ministers, a first since Brexit. Arriving in Brussels, Truss said it was vital that the UK and its allies show complete unity in their response to Russia's military action. While she didn't name the EU, the message was clear. After years of hubris, lack of communication and disagreements, Britain and the European alliance are drawing closer and standing side by side in the face of a common aggressor. The Russian invasion is a profound threat to Europeans, a challenge that the West must face together, said Sophia Gaston, director of the Research Institute British Foreign Policy Group. Experts emphasized that Great Britain, together with France, was an important voice even before Brexit when it came to a common foreign policy. While countries like Germany here made political U-turns, the kingdom was less surprised at Russia's invasion. Politicians and the media there have been skeptical about the Kremlin for years. Reasons for this include the proximity of the British to the USA and the poisoning attacks on the Russian ex-agents Alexander Litvinenko and Sergei Skripal on British soil, which were allegedly carried out by the Kremlin, although it didn't touch the oligarchs until yesterday. Accordingly, attention was drawn to the Russian threat early on. Ukrainians were trained and armed and warned that as the disaster approached, commented former Conservative Brexit Secretary David Frost, although we know what we have to take from him. According to experts, Great Britain therefore plays an important role in strategically dealing with the war in Europe, also because of its nuclear weapons. At the same time, Great Britain had to realize that the EU is not as inflexible as Brexit supporters have repeatedly claimed. The government under Boris Johnson, unlike his predecessor Theresa May, assumed that the alliance will continue to play no role when it comes to a common security policy for Europe, emphasized Ian Bond, an expert at the think tank Centre for European Reform. Alone, one can react faster and better to crises, claimed those who were in favor of leaving the EU. According to Bond, however, this assumption turned out to be wrong in view of the Russian war in Ukraine. In fact, the EU was even quicker than Britain, for example, when it came to sanctions for Russian oligarchs close to the Kremlin. According to Gavin Barwell, Theresa May's former chief of staff, the future Brexit deal should therefore also include agreements on cooperation on foreign and defense policy. If you want to protect Great Britain in the future, you need NATO and the EU, stressed Bond. Overall, however, the crisis-ridden Prime Minister Boris Johnson is benefiting domestically from the war. The headlines surrounding government officials' parties during lockdowns have disappeared from UK dailies in the past 2 weeks. While opposition leader Keir Starmer recently called for the Prime Minister to resign, he is now adopting a softer tone. British television broadcaster BBC argued on Monday that for the vast majority of Tories, now is simply not the time for a change in leadership. Concerns about Boris Johnson's leadership in his own party are no longer relevant for the time being, but have not been forgotten, it said. The Scottish writer, politician and Johnson critic Rory Stewart said of him in the face of the war in Europe, "He's a terrible man, he's a terrible minister, but he did well in the Ukraine crisis." And he is a terrible man, but times of crisis are not times for changing a prime minister. But we must not forget everything surrounding that. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.